Erev Tov, good evening, everyone. We gather here tonight in remembrance for this Sukkot Yizkor service. I want to make sure everyone has a big version of Mishkan Tefillah. These are the ones that were on the cart. They should not say Shabbat on the side. They should be a bigger version. And that's because we have some special liturgy, some special prayers for Sukkot and for Yizkor. So I want to make sure everyone has a bigger version. And tonight we'll have a series of prayers. We'll have our evening prayers that are said every day, but we'll also have prayers to mark this moment of remembrance and of memory. And towards the end of our time tonight, we'll also have the opportunity for each of you to share a story, a memory, something that you're holding close with someone that you love. And it is totally optional, but we want to create that space so that we can hear from one another about the people in our lives that we're missing and that we're remembering tonight. A poem by Hannah Senesh. Yesh kochavim, there are stars up above, so far away we only see their light, long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember.
To page 384 for our candle lighting.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner Yom Tov shel Yom
These festival lights open our eyes to the joys in life, beauty that delights the eye, freedom to be ourselves, the knowledge of Torah that shapes our moral being, the heritage of celebration that unites us as a people. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, for giving us life, sustaining us, and enabling us to reach this season. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Shechianu, v'kiyamanu, v'higianu, lazman hazeh.
I invite you to rise as you are able. Page 392 for Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitgadal v'yitgadal shemei Rabbah. Amen. Me'alamadi v'rachiruti v'yamlich malechutei b'chayichon. בחיי דכו בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב, ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמירה במבורח, ולעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל לשמי דקודשה, לעילה מן כל ברכותיו ושירותיו, תושבחתה ונחמתה תמידן בעלמא, ויאמרו amen. Page 394. Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed. You may be seated.
Page 396. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bivaro ma'ariv arvim, bechokma poteach she'arim, ubitnuna mishane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umesader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or.
ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, מבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו. אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב ערבים. Page 398. אהבת עולם בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו, בשוכבנו ובקומנו, נצליח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמשפטך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגן יומם ולילה, ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו,
בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, 402. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. Page 406. יפדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. Page 408. The third line down. Sukkot Shalom Aleinu, Aleinu, ve'al
We turn to page 410, and I invite you to rise if you are able for our prayer noting this appointed festival season. And after page 410, we'll continue with a silent Amidah beginning on page 468.
וידבר משה את מועדי אדוני אל בני ישראל.
The Amidah can be found on page 468 and following. If you're still praying, I encourage you to finish your prayer at your own time. One more time.
Erev Tov.
Erev Tov.
From the book of Ecclesiastes, the book of wisdom in Jewish tradition that we read this time of year, we read, Hakol haya min he'efar, v'hakol shav el he'afar. All came from dust, and all return to dust. From dust to dust, with magnificence and joy and love and all of the things of life in between. We know, all of us gathered here tonight, about the fragility, the impermanence of life. The feeling of having a beloved family member or friend with us one moment, sharing in the throes of everyday life, to then marking time, a week, a month, a year, or years without them by our side. We know that life is fragile, susceptible to brokenness. We know that life is impermanent, the reality of death present. And while we are reminded of these truths throughout our periods of mourning during the year, we maybe especially feel the reality of this fragility and this impermanence during Sukkot, our harvest festival we have celebrated for the past week. During Sukkot, we are commanded to build a sukkah, a temporary dwelling place, so that we will remember and know that our ancestors dwelled in similar structures after escaping Egypt and making their way to the Promised Land. These structures are meant to be built and then torn down, temporary living places, just like our ancestors making their way to freedom and liberation. The fragility and the impermanence of the sukkah is demonstrated by some of its specifications. It is to have at least 2.5 or 3 walls. The roof must be made of natural materials. More shade than sun must be provided by the structure, but some sun, and therefore maybe some rain, must be able to break through. When we dwell in a sukkah, we are meant to feel the surrounding world, the sun shining, the wind blowing, the light rain coming down. We receive shelter from this sukkah, but it is not a shield from all that surrounds us. Dwelling in a sukkah, we are reminded of the realities of the world because it is not meant to last forever. We will build it, and then it will come down. It was, of course, after the end of Sukkot last year, on Simchat Torah, that we witnessed the atrocities of October 7th. And in a horrific remembrance of that day, there are sukkahs still standing, desecrated, partially destroyed, but still standing across kibbutzim and communities in Israel along the border with Gaza. The attacks of October 7th came so swiftly, so close to the end of Sukkot, that people had not had time to take them down before their communities were destroyed, their loved ones taken hostage or taken forever. They built their sukkahs, and in a cruel reversal of the intention of this holiday, they still remain a year later. Just as our sukkahs here at CBE are filled with lights and paper chains made by kids and other decorations, I can imagine the decorations of these sukkahs, although partially tattered, still present along the walls more than a year later. They are a standing, living reminder of the true fragility and impermanence that exists in our world. Although the prophets of our tradition are typically lauded for their proclamations about social justice and repairing the world, they also provide us words of comfort. The prophet Isaiah lived during tumultuous times for the Israelites, witnessing the expulsion from Jerusalem. And yet, from exile, Isaiah gave the people wisdom for how to cope, how to remember, how to navigate these moments of significant fragility and impermanence. Isaiah proclaims, "I will give them in my house and within my walls a monument and a name, better than sons or daughters. I will give them an everlasting name that shall not perish." Isaiah was speaking about the walls of the temple in Jerusalem. However, during this time of Sukkot, we could think of this proclamation as speaking about the walls of the Sukkah. That within the walls of this impermanent, fragile structure lies remembrance. Within these walls lies the opportunity for us to create a monument and a name. In Hebrew, this verse, a monument and a name, is Yad Vashem, which you may recognize as the name of Israel's Holocaust Memorial and Museum. Yad Vashem, a monument and a name, is constructed within the walls of the temple, but also within the walls of the Sukkah, and most importantly, within the walls of our hearts. Within these walls, these fragile, impermanent walls, lies remembrance. During this season, we remember the people who have not made it to this moment. This time of year in which we are called to celebrate Sukkot and Simchat Torah and experience the world around us, we remember the people missing from our Sukkah, missing from our joyous celebration of Torah. They are missing from family dinners and game nights and coffee dates and vacations and so many other moments of life that they loved and that we loved. And so, in their physical absence, we are called to create for them a monument and a name. We are called to ensure that their memory, all the memories that we hold close of them, live on through us, through our loved ones, and through our communities. And we are reminded by the prophet Isaiah of just how to do that. To gather together in remembrance, to light a yahrzeit candle and say Mourner's Kaddish, to speak about our loved ones and the sweet and meaningful memories we have with them. When we dwell in our literal or metaphorical sukkah, when we engage in these moments of fragility and impermanence, we can give our loved ones an incredible gift, an everlasting name that shall not perish. Zichronom livracha, may all the memories of our loved ones be for an everlasting name and an eternal blessing. Amen.
With those moving words, we transition to the Yizkor part of our service. Page 576.
מזמור לדוד. אדוני רואי לא אחסר, בנאות שירביצני, על מי מנוחות, על מי מנוחות ינהלני. נפשי שובב ישובב, ינחני מגלי צדק, ינחני במגלי צדק, למען שמו. גם כי לך בגית צל מוות, לא אירא רע, כי אתה עמדי. שבתך במשענתך, עמי ינחמוני. תערוך לפני, לפני, שולחן נגד צורריי. דשנת בשם ראשי, כוסי רוויה. אך טוב וחסד ירדפוני, כל ימי חיי, כל ימי חיי. ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. אדוני רואי לא אחסר, אדוני רואי לא אחסר.
Page 577.
שיר למעלות, אשא עיני אל ההרים, מאין יבוא עזרי. עזרי מעם אדוני, עושה שמיים בארץ, אל ייתן למות רגליך. אל ינום שומרך, הנה לא ינום ולא יישן, שומר ישראל. אדוני שומרך, אדוני צילך, על יד ימינך. יומם השמש לא יכך, וירח בלילה. אדוני ישמורך מכל רע, ישמור את נפשך. אדוני ישמור צאתך ובואך, מעתה ועד עולם. מעתה ועד עולם.
578.
We turn to page 580. And at the top, we take time silently to call to mind all those we're remembering tonight.
Anai, 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 anai. Ai, dai, 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 dai.
We now have the opportunity to hear from one another of the people that we are remembering tonight. Again, this part of our service is optional, but a real blessing, an opportunity to hear from our fellow community members a story, a memory, something that you're holding on to close tonight. If you would like to go, just raise your hand and I'll bring the mic to make sure everyone can hear. And maybe also say your name as well.
I am Susan Solomon, and I'm remembering my dad tonight. Even 24 years later, yesterday was his yahrzeit, and Shimnei Atzeret was his birthday. So it's a sort of emotional day, even though it's a very long time ago. He grew up in this neighborhood. He had a store on Fifth Avenue in Garfield Place, for those of you who know the neighborhood. Thank you. And but they did not go to this synagogue. They went to a synagogue on 9th Street that it doesn't exist anymore. And they would never have come here because they thought it was way too snooty and, more upper class than they could handle. So, but my dad, he wasn't at all observant, but he was very proud of being Jewish. When he was dying, I asked him what he would want gifts given to in his memory, and he said something in Israel, and I was like shocked. I had no idea that that's what he felt. I knew he was with one of the rabbis who liberated one of the concentration camps. He was the rabbi's assistant, but he went during the war, but he never would talk about it at all, so I don't even really know which one. But Judaism was important to him, not observance. He worked on Saturday, but he thought that he should never drive to a synagogue because it would be disrespectful to be driving to a synagogue. So anyway, I think he would be somewhat bemused and surprised to see me here tonight, but I think also pleased and loving as always. So, thank you.
I've been a member of this synagogue 30 years, so it's hard to keep coming up with new stories. But I don't think I told this. When I was a child, for the first 7 years of my life, we lived in Bay Ridge, which is largely Catholic, and I think I felt alone. I felt, everybody, the first communion with the dresses and beautiful things. So when we moved to Fred Trump's Beach Haven, where I lived for many years, I wanted to go to Hebrew school. And at that time, I might have been the only one in the Hebrew school class who actually liked being there, because most kids did not want to go to Hebrew school. Anyway, my mother's friend said to her, Judy's going to want to go kosher now. So my mother said to me, now remember, you like spare ribs, shrimp, and lobster. You don't want to eat those things. So that's my little joke, that I was able to live in two worlds, as most kids can, and that was one of them.
I've been thinking a lot about a question that I will never have the answer to. When we were first married, a group of Robert's friends gave us a chiming clock that played the Westminster chimes, so there were chimes every 15 minutes. And the clock was sat on a sideboard in our little front hall, right outside the door of our room. And sometimes in the middle of the night, I would hear the clock, but it was chiming something else. It was playing a tune. I don't know what it was playing. And I never told Robert, but he finally found out when we moved here, more than 40 years after we got married. I was telling this story to somebody and he overheard me. And he said, I heard chimes like that in the middle of the night too. And I don't know why I never told him. I think I wanted to keep alive the possibility that maybe I really was hearing magic chimes. And I don't know why he never told me. And now, of course, we can't continue the conversation. He died in 2012. So I thought about it many times. I haven't thought about it so much lately, and I'm thinking now about how you lose things as the time passes. During the first 10 years after he died, if I coughed in the middle of the night, I would say sorry. And after a while, I realized there wasn't anybody hearing it and being disturbed, and that has stopped. And I'm losing Robert. I'm not getting any new memories, and I'm not getting any answers, but that's what happens.
Hello, my name is Javier Rizoui. I'm originally from Uruguay, hence the name and the accent. And thank you so much for inspiring me to speak, because I've never done this before, but I thought if everybody else has been brave before me to do it, then why not? And what immediately triggered for me growing up both in South America and here, I always remember vividly during Yizkor, in the high holidays, I would step out along with my siblings. And I was not one of those. I was not a person who did not lose my parents yet. And now, especially remembering my father, who passed away 9 years ago, I just feel that I'm now in that category, and I can appreciate the pain that happens during those services, or even today, right now, and remembering. And it's such a special link in Judaism in terms of remembering those who are not here. And then I'm particularly here today because my father-in-law passed away earlier this year. And while I have brothers-in-laws and younger brothers, I feel that now the weight of carrying the Seder, the Rosh Hashanah meal, all that is on my shoulders. And especially this year, I just wanted to make sure that I was here for them. So, thank you.
Hi, I'm remembering my stepmother Sheila and my father, and October was one of the, at least when I was a child, one October, was a remarkable act that he managed to do. He didn't perform miracles very often, but the television broke. And the playoffs were happening that night with the Yankees and the Dodgers. And there was a TV by nighttime. He would have enjoyed the fact that there was a series.
Hi, my name is Evelyn, and like many others, I've been to Yizkor services, and I've shared stories. I lost both my parents, my mother when I was a young girl, 15 years old, and then my father a couple of years ago, which was also hard in a different way. And I think I particularly feel moved by this service. We go to high holidays and yurtzeit services, but when I see the newsletter and I see Yizkor, I feel like I want to be here. It's just a reminder to really take a breath and enjoy life, and as best you can, because we're all not going to be here. It's finite, and it kind of reinforces a lot of the sermons, that we hear and on the high holidays. But I feel very connected and grateful to be here with this group tonight. Thank you.
I'm not really sure I can do this, but my name is Sharon. My father passed away in March, very suddenly, and it's been really hard. He was such an amazing father and such an amazing man, and he loved everyone in his family, his nieces and his nephews and his son-in-law and his grandkids and my mother. They would have celebrated their 63rd anniversary a week ago. But one of the things that I keep thinking about to make me smile or just bring it back to love is one of my father's patients who, my father was a physical therapist. He was still practicing. He had patients scheduled for that week, and he, one of his patients who is an Orthodox woman said that he died on Purim, he died in the eve of Purim, and she said it's one of the most joyous days of the year, and when someone dies on Purim, it's someone who has brought a lot of joy to the world, and so that gives me some comfort, and that it is often said when someone dies quickly that they died with a kiss from God. So I keep thinking about that.
Is there anyone else who would like to share tonight? Thank you to everyone who told beautiful stories and memories, and thank you for sharing with our community.
We read at the bottom of page 580.
Yizkor Elohim nishmot kol achenu ve'ach yaltenu b'nei Yisrael shemasru et nafshotehem al kiddush Hashem. Ana tiyena nafshotehem tizrurot bitzror hachayim uthi menuchatam kavon shova smachot et panecha neimot b'mincha netzach. Amen. May God remember forever our brothers and sisters of the house of Israel who gave their lives for the sanctification of the divine name. May they be at one with the one who is life eternal. May the beauty of their lives shine forevermore, and may my life always bring honor to their memory. Amen.
Amen. We turn to page 582 and rise as we are able for El Malei Rachamim.
שוכן במרומים, המצא מנוחה נכונה, תחת כנפי השכינה. עם קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע, מזהירים לנשמות יקירינו שהלכו לעולמם. בעל הרחמים יסתירים בסתר כנפיו לעולמים, בצרור החיים את נשמתם. אדוני הוא נחלתם, וינוחו בשלום על משכבם. ונאמר אמן.
Turn to page 598. And I invite you to share the names of those you are remembering as my eyes meet yours. also remember members of our community that we've lost in the last year. Keith Abrams, Sigurd Ackerman, Michal Admoni, Guy Admoni, Stanley Lewis Alpert, Anasita Bacchus Gomos, Nina Baraket, David Bender, Nate Berger, Daniel Bernal, David Beal, Levana Beinstock, Lynn Ellman, Robert Epstein, Irene Feuerstein, Robert Frank, Raina Frank Goodman, Donna Freund, Robert Fry, Eleanor Fuchs, Leslie Gers Eisenberg, Jeffrey Gottfried, Jesse Grant, Michael Gustianani, Daniela Hampel, Barry Hardy, Catherine Harris, Ephraim Hirsch, Chuck Hurwitz, Hortense Hurwitz, Arlette Jassel Goldstein, Stephen Johnson, Paul Kane, Chaim Katzman, Baruch Kirschenbaum, Betty Kravitz, Helen Lancer Wool, Robert Larson, Stephen Lefkowitz, Terrence Levine, Irvin Levine, Sharon LeWinter, David Lieberman, Joanna Merlin, Melissa Miller, Danny Perez, Warner Posen, Paul Poster, Mark Potecha, Stephen Raphael, Donna Rockwell Smilovitz, Sarah Bell Rosenzweig, Catherine Saunders, Judy Schnurman, Laura Sechrist, Jeffrey Siegel, Richard Salmansky, Reb Arthur Shapiro, Leonard Sosna, Stephen Sparer, Sally Spindle, Rena Feuerstein Strauch, Artis Vaughn, David Wolitsky, Zeke Zavala. With all of ththese names in our hearts, we turn to page 598 for the words of Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divrach chiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh. B'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayed chol Beit Yisrael. B'agala u'bizman kariv v'yimru.
Amen.
Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam l'amei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei krusha brichu. Le'ela minko birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata b'nechemata. Damiran be'alma v'yimru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'romav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to all the world, which we say.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'romav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'yimru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol yoshvei tevel.
Zichronom libracha. May all the memories of our loved ones be an everlasting name and an eternal blessing.
Amen.
Amen. This concludes our service tonight.